Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're exploring a really unique text. Not quite history, not exactly formal philosophy, but something incredibly personal.
Yeah, it's the notes, the reflections of a Roman emperor, Marcus Aurelius.
Exactly. We're diving into his meditations. And the goal here is, well, to unpack these ancient thoughts and see what wisdom they might still hold for you today.
And understanding the man himself is, I think, really key. Marcus Aurelius wasn't just some thinker in an ivory tower.
No, definitely not.
He was the emperor, ruling from 161 AD,
Hmm.
a vast, often chaotic empire. And these writings, they weren't polished essays.
Right. More like private notes.
Private thoughts, yeah, maybe jotted down during stressful times. The introduction even mentions possibly while he was on military campaigns.
Hmm.
So our mission, really, in this deep dive is to get past the centuries between us and pull out the core ideas, the practical advice from this very complex person in the text he left.
Okay, so let's set that scene a bit more. He steps into power, 161 AD, and it wasn't exactly smooth sailing from the get-go, was it? He shared the throne initially.
That's right, with Lucius Aurelius Verus. And, well, trouble hit almost instantly. The text points straight to it. War in the East.
Parthia.
Yeah, the Parthians under Vologeses III kicked things off around 162 AD. Verus was sent to handle it, but the account we have suggests he spent more time on, shall we say, personal enjoyment.
Drunkenness and debauchery, I think the source says.
That's the phrasing, leaving the actual fighting to his generals. And that wasn't all. On the northern frontier, massive pressure.
The German tribes.
Serious threats from tribes like the Marcomanni and the Quadi. They're actually named in the Meditations itself. And then later, just when things maybe seemed a bit stable, bang, rebellion.
Avidius Cassius in the east. Spurred by a false rumor.
Exactly. A false report that Marcus had died. Imagine getting that news.
Constantly dealing with crises on that scale, it's hard to fathom.
It seems relentless. And the introduction gives us insight into Marcus's reaction to Cassius's rebellion. Apparently profound grief.
Not anger.
Grief at the thought of civil war. He even reportedly spoke well of Cassius's abilities and genuinely wished Cassius wouldn't, harm himself so he could actually pardon him.
Wow.
But that didn't happen. No. Cassius was assassinated. His killers brought the head to Marcus,
Oh, grim.
who refused to see it, wouldn't even meet the men who did it. And on that same trip east, his wife, Faustina, died.
Just loss after loss.
And even after celebrating a triumph back in Rome in 176, he basically had to turn right around and head back to Germany, back to the war.
It's such a stark contrast, isn't it? This life of constant, brutal external conflict.
Right.
And then this writing, which is all about seeking internal peace, finding stability within.
It really drives home that his philosophy wasn't just theory. It had to be practical, a tool for surviving that reality.
Well, yeah.
Now, the source material also brings up a, say, difficult point regarding his reign, his stance on Christians.
Ah, yes, the persecutions.
It mentions figures like Justin Martyr in Rome, Polycarp in Smyrna. The text argues that Marcus only knew about Christians from negative rumors, from calumny is the word used.
So he didn't investigate properly.
The source contends he failed in his duty to ensure they got fair hearings. It even compares him unfavorably to Emperor Trajan on this. We're just, relaying what the text presents here, staying neutral on that interpretation.
Understood. So the text paints him as this paradox almost, like a peaceful warrior, wants quiet, but born to rule. A loving father, but struggles with his kids.
Precisely that. It captures that tension perfectly. The man versus the massive weight of the empire.
Okay, let's actually get into the meditations itself now, starting with book 1, which is kind of unusual, isn't it?
It really is. It's not straight
What-
philosophy like the later books. It's
No,
it's deeply personal.
a list?
Yeah, a list of people he felt grateful to, and not just names. He details the specific things, the virtues, the lessons he learned from each one. It's like seeing the building blocks of his character laid out.
Can you give some examples?
Sure. So, from his grandfather Verus, he learned gentleness, meekness. Then there's Rusticus.
What did he learn from him?
A lot, apparently. Rusticus helped him see his own life-needed correction, as he puts it. Taught him to avoid the sort of showy ambition of the sophists.
Yeah.
Riding fancy tracks, giving big public speeches, even showing off physically.
Interesting. Keep it simple.
Keep it simple, keep it real. Rusticus apparently steered him away from rhetoric and poetry, too, towards writing plainly. He even mentions a specific letter to his mother as an example of this simple style.
That detail makes it feel very grounded.
It does. Then there's Severus. From him, Marcus credits learning paternal affection, how to live according to nature. We'll probably come back to that phrase. Certain seriousness or gravity without being fake about it. How to really see his friends' characters. Severus also taught him, apparently, not to get annoyed by simple or unlearned people. The text uses the word idiots. And not to argue philosophy when it wasn't the right time or place. And, crucially, how to adapt to different people.
Practical social skills, almost.
Very much so. From Alexander the Platonic. Don't use "I'm too busy" as an excuse to neglect duties to friends. From Cashless. Don't just brush off a friend's criticism, even if you think it's unfair.
Listen first.
Right. And then there's his adoptive father, Antoninus Pius. That section is huge.
Yeah, the list of qualities is incredibly long.
It's like a complete model for good leadership, good character, meekness, constancy, but without showing off about it. Diligence, justice, equality in administration, always putting the subject's welfare first.
That sounds like an ideal ruler.
It really does.
Yeah.
Also, consistent study of philosophy, generosity, hoping for the best in situations, trusting friends, being open and honest. The text says Antoninus never seemed surprised by things, never rushed, never downcast, didn't laugh too much, wasn't prone to anger or suspicion. Always ready to do good, to forgive, to speak truth. He seemed naturally upright, not like someone forcing himself to be good, made people feel valued, kept friends close but not clingy, was content, cheerful, looked ahead, honored real philosophers, spoke graciously. Even cared for his health sensibly, and this is important, was willing to listen to and accept others' opinions.
That's an incredible role model he clearly paid close attention to. Any others stand out?
Diognetus is interesting. Taught him to avoid trivial things, not to automatically believe miracle workers or fortune tellers, to tolerate free speech, got him interested in philosophy, writing dialogues, and adopting that simple philosopher's lifestyle. The source mentions a basic couch and animal skins.
So book one really shows how he built his character not from abstract ideas, but by watching and learning from real people around him, focusing on like everyday virtues.
Exactly. It's very practical, very grounded in human interaction.
Okay, so moving beyond book one, we get more into the philosophical meat of the Meditations, the Stoic core. And this idea comes up again and again, living according to nature.
Right. That's fundamental. And flowing from that is a really core Stoic belief. You see it clearly in book 6, for instance. Only virtue is truly good. Only vice is truly bad.
Which leads to that concept of indifferent things.
Exactly. Ephora in different things. Health, wealth, pain, death, honor, dishonor. All the stuff we usually chase or avoid.
Yeah, the stuff that seems to matter most.
Well, for the Stoics and for Marcus, these things aren't good or bad in themselves. Books 2 and 8 really hammer this home. They're just the material.
Yeah.
The circumstances, the stage where virtue or vice gets played out.
Okay, but why should that idea that my health or my job or whether people like me is indifferent, why should that actually matter to me now? It feels, well, a bit cold, maybe?
It matters because Marcus argues these external things fundamentally cannot harm your true self.
My inner self.
Your inner core, your reason, your understanding. He calls it the logisticate, the ruling part. He says in the book 4 and book 8, that's where your real power is. This rational part can direct itself. It can choose how to interpret things. It shapes how things seem to you.
Ah, so it's about perception.
It's almost entirely about perception. Book 4 and book 8 say it over and over. Your trouble doesn't come from the thing itself. It comes from your opinion about the thing. Your mind, when it's free from passions, from these disturbing emotions, that's your ultimate fortress, your strongest refuge, as book 8 puts it.
That really shifts the focus, doesn't it? From trying to control the world outside.
To mastering the world inside. Precisely.
Okay. What about his view of the bigger picture, the universe?
He sees the universe as fundamentally one thing, a single living entity. And it's not random. It's governed by a rational principle, providence. You see this in books 4, 6, 9, 12.
Like an intelligence behind it all?
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
A rational essence. He often uses the metaphor of a city, the cosmos, a great commonwealth. And all rational beings, humans, are citizens of this universal city. That's in book 4, 7, 11.
Fellow citizens of the universe.
Right. And if that's true, then everything that happens is part of the plan. It's necessary. It contributes to the good of the whole universe.
And
therefore, because you are a part of that whole, book 2 and 5 suggest it's actually good for you too. Even the difficult stuff. He has a great line in book 5. Accept whatever happens like you accept a doctor's prescription.
Take your medicine, even if it tastes bad, because it's meant to heal the whole system, which includes you.
That's the idea. And woven into this ordered universe is the absolute certainty of constant change.
Everything is in flux.
Perpetual flux, he reflects on it constantly. Books 2, 6, 11, 12. Physical bodies decay, substances transform, even memories fade. Nature loves change, he says in Book 4. Everything that exists now is just the seed of what's coming next.
Including us.
Including us. Book 9 points out we are constantly changing moment to moment. And recognizing this, see how quickly everything dissolves? Book 9 suggests this helps us. It helps us let go of attachments to things that are inherently temporary.
Okay, so let's pull those threads together. External things are indifferent. My inner rational self is key. My fortress. The universe is ordered, rational, and always changing. How does this actually guide how we should live? What are the practical actions?
Right, this is where it gets really concrete.
Yeah.
If externals don't define you and your inner state is paramount, then your main job is,
Yeah.
well, your duty. Doing what's required of you as a rational being, as a social being. Book 3 and 12 push you to figure that out. And then there's that incredibly powerful advice in Book 2. Do every single action as if it were your last.
Whoa.
Do it properly, without vanity, without pretending, without inner conflict. Just do the thing itself fully.
As if it were your last act. That creates incredible focus. Okay, what about dealing with other people? That's where a lot of our daily struggles happen.
Absolutely. And he addresses it directly. Remember that fellow citizens idea? In Book 2 and 4, he reminds himself, we're born for cooperation. Like feet, hands, eyelids, we're meant to work together.
Even when people are difficult.
Especially then. Book 8 and 10 say, try to teach them, gently, kindly. If you can't teach them, then bear with them, tolerate them. If someone offends you.
Which happens?
All the time. Book 4 and 8 say. Remember, the offense is ultimately against themselves. They are harming their own rational nature. Don't let their error disturb your inner peace.
Easier said than done.
Oh, incredibly hard. But that's the goal. Avoid anger. Book 11 urges, don't seek revenge. Just try to maintain, as Book 4 puts it, a kindly disposition towards everyone.
It's a constant internal choice about your own reaction, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And linked to that is the emphasis on the present moment.
Living now.
Living right now. Book 2 and 4 are blunt. Death is always potentially near. So live well now. Don't waste time worrying about the future. Book 6 says you'll have the reason you need to deal with future events if and when they actually arrive. Don't let your mind just wander aimlessly. Book 2 warns, give yourself the time and space to learn to focus.
Don't borrow trouble, basically. So when bad things do happen right now, how does he say to handle that?
Okay, so something external happens. You lose your job. Someone insults you. You feel pain. Book 8 suggests you ask, is this unbearable? Can I actually endure this moment? Often he thinks the suffering is magnified because we don't just confine it to the present. We add layers of past grievance or future fear.
I tell ourselves stories about it.
Exactly. And Book 4 and 8 keep coming back to it. The problem isn't the event. It's your judgment about the event, your opinion. That's what causes the distress.
So the key is to sort of isolate the raw event from all the interpretation we heap onto it.
Precisely. Strip it bare, see it for what it is. Another huge theme is motivation. Why do good things?
For praise, for rewards.
No, absolutely not. Book 4 and 6 say it clearly. Don't seek praise from others. Book 8 even says, think about who these people are whose approval you're chasing. Is their judgment really that sound?
Good point.
Book 7 has that beautiful analogy. Be good because it's your nature. And an emerald is green because it's an emerald.
Right.
It doesn't need praise for being green.
Its quality is inherent.
Right. And when you have done something good, help someone, act it justly. Book 7 says, don't look around for a third thing, like applause or someone saying thank you or expecting a favor back. The action itself, the virtuous act, is its own reward.
That feels incredibly relevant today with social media and the constant search for external validation.
Doesn't it just? And then there's death. It looms large in the meditations.
How does he advise facing it?
First, don't fear it. Book 9 says it's natural, part of the cycle. Book 4 tells you to just think about everyone who came before. Long lives, short lives, famous people, ordinary people, they all died. It's universal.
Puts it in perspective.
It does. And Book 8 offers a kind of logical comfort. Look, either death is the end of consciousness, in which case you won't feel anything bad, or it's a transition to some other state or life, in which case it's not really death in the fearful sense.
Either oblivion or transformation, neither inherently bad.
That's the Stoic take. So the aim, according to Book 11, is just to be ready to depart peacefully whenever nature calls time.
Not fighting it, but accepting it as part of the process.
Exactly. And until that time comes, The focus is on cultivating those inner qualities. Book 4 talks about being cheerful, self-reliant. Book 5 urges simplicity, sincerity, magnanimity, greatness of spirit. He sees philosophy not as a chore, but as a refuge, a source of ease and comfort. That's Book 5 again. Honor that divine spark, that spirit within you. And Book 6 reminds you, look within. The fountain of good is right there, always available if you just dig for it.
Always look inward for strength. He even mentions prayer, doesn't he?
He does, but he reframes it. Book 9 says, basically, don't pray for stuff. Don't pray for wealth or health or for enemies to be smitten.
Pray for what then?
Pray for the right state of mind. Pray to be free from fear, free from excessive desires, free from anger. Pray for inner strength, essentially.
Inner transformation, not outer circumstance.
Yes. And one last key practice, perspective. Seeing things clearly as they really are. Book 8 talks about stripping away judgment to see the bare and naked object.
Taking the labels off.
Taking the labels off. And getting cosmic perspective. Book 6 has that famous passage, Asia and Europe. Just little corners of the world, Mount Athos. Just a clod of earth, all of present time, a mere point in eternity.
Makes your own problems seem smaller.
Exactly. Books 7 and 12 suggest imagining looking down from a great height on human affairs, the scurrying, the anxieties, the little dramas. It helps detach you from petty concerns.
Okay, so wrapping up the practical advice, it's really about focusing on what is in your control, your thoughts, your judgments, your actions. Accepting what isn't, acting justly and finely towards others because we're all connected, and keeping perspective about the temporary nature of, well, everything.
That's a great summary. It's a coherent and I think quite powerful toolkit for navigating life's inevitable difficulties by building that resilient inner core.
Now let's shift focus slightly. The source material also gives us these fascinating glimpses into Marcus's more personal side, doesn't it? Through his letters, especially with his old tutor, Fronto.
Yes, those letters are wonderful. They show a different dimension. Fronto was a famous rhetorician, even a consul, and Marcus's teacher. And the affection is obvious. Marcus calls him my heart's desire, most sweet master.
A very warm relationship.
Clearly. And the text notes something interesting. Fronto was apparently quite frank, quite blunt with Marcus.
Really? With the emperor?
Yeah, Marcus himself was apparently surprised by it, wasn't used to that level of honesty. The text mentions a disagreement over someone called Herodes Atticus, where Fronto advised Marcus to stay impartial.
That takes courage, advising an emperor like that.
It suggests a real trust between them. Fronto also gave him practical advice, like how to manage his court, suggesting he should actively try to stamp out envy among his companions to keep things harmonious. And Fronto apparently taught him truthfulness in writing, too.
Beyond the advice, the letters give us these little snapshots of his actual daily life, which is amazing.
They really do. The text pulls out this scene during the grape harvest season. Marcus writes about, well, writing letters, tending to a sore throat with honey water. Apparently, they even had a little linguistic debate about the word for gargle.
The emperor debating grammar?
Right? Then attending a sacrifice with his father. A very simple lunch. Marcus just had bread, while others had beans, onions, fish. And then he was actually out in the vineyard, helping with the harvest, describing the sweat and shouting.
Wow. Hands-on.
Then more work, and later, just chatting comfortably with his mother, asking what Fronto was up to. She asked about one of her friends. Just normal family conversation.
It makes him seem so much more human, relatable, across all those centuries.
Absolutely. And you see his love for his children, too, his anxiety about their health. He wrote to Fronto, full of relief, when his little daughter Faustina got better after being ill. The text reminds us of the sadness, too, that only one of his sons, Commodus, actually survived him.
A lot of personal loss there as well.
Yes. And the letters also mention Fronto's own hardships later in life, illness, losing his wife, his grandson, another relative. It paints a picture of shared human vulnerability.
These personal bits, the relationships, they really flesh out the picture, don't they? Beyond just the emperor or the philosopher.
They absolutely do. It grounds the philosophy. It shows these profound thoughts came from a real person living a complex, demanding, sometimes painful life, dealing with empire and family, friendship, loss.
So looking back on our deep dive today, we've walked through Marcus Aurelius's meditations, looked at his life through the lens of the sources. We've explored the huge external pressures he was under.
Wars, rebellion, loss.
Then the core Stoic ideas he used to navigate it all, focusing inward, accepting the universe's nature. We've unpacked the practical day-to-day advice that comes from those principles.
How to act, how to treat others, how to handle hardship.
touched on the specific lessons he credited to people who shaped him, and even got those personal glimpses through his letters.
And I think what stands out is that these aren't just, dusty old texts. They're grappling with things that feel surprisingly modern, don't they? Dealing with difficult people, handling things when they go wrong, finding meaning, facing mortality.
Absolutely. Which brings us to our final thought for you, the listener. Consider this. Marcus Aurelius faced unimaginable pressure, empire, war, betrayal, personal grief. Yet, the sources suggest his path to peace. His strategy for endurance wasn't about achieving more external success, more power, or winning more popularity contests.
No, his focus was relentlessly inward.
Exactly. Striving moment by moment to live justly, kindly, in tune with how he understood the universe, recognizing that external events couldn't ultimately touch his inner self. So, here's the question to ponder. What might change in your life right now if you were to shift your focus even just a bit more towards managing your inner state, your thoughts, your judgments, your reactions, and concentrating on your actions, rather than letting external circumstances or what other people think dictate your peace of mind?
Something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.